Hello, Landry from Penguin Plan here. If you're not familiar with Penguin Plan, it's a simple envelope-based, zero-based budgeting tool available at penguinplan.com. And today I'm going to talk to you about creating your first budget. So if you don't know, I did say a bunch of words there. Envelope-based budgeting is a simple concept. That's where you take a bunch of envelopes and you label them with different things that you might need on your budget, say rent, utility, groceries, and then when you get paid, you put your money in the envelopes. So let's say, for example, your rent is $2,000 a month. You take $2,000 when you get paid, you put it inside the rent envelope, and when it's time to pay your rent, you take your $2,000 out of the envelope, you hand it to your landlord, and you're done. Let's say you have groceries. You put $400 in the grocery envelope at some point, and when it's time to go get groceries, you take money out of the envelope, you pay for your groceries, you put your change back in the envelope. If you run out of money in your groceries envelope and it's time to get more groceries, well, you can take money from a different envelope, but you're very aware that you're taking money from whatever other budget item you had to fund your groceries. Just the act of paying attention to what you're spending and having a plan can make all the difference when it comes to personal finance. A lot of times finances are a source of stress and anxiety for individuals and couples, and having an eye on it and a plan for it can take a lot of the stress away. In fact, having an eye on your spending can curb some of your impulsive, unnecessary spending. But budgeting shouldn't mean that you don't get to have any fun, and it shouldn't be inflexible. A lot of times, just looking at a blank screen, especially with a tool that you don't know, can be a scary, intimidating place. So I'm going to talk to you now about setting up a first budget with Penguin Plan. So flipping over to there, you can see this screen here. This would be the first screen that you would encounter when you first sign up for Penguin Plan. Now, you can see there's already stuff on the page. That's because we don't want to leave you with a completely blank page. We filled out some presets that just might be applicable to a large number of people, but you can delete or rename or trim as needed. I'm also going to mention up here, you can see that my free period ends on December 17th. And to keep my access, I can head over to the account page or click the cog next to log out to subscribe to make sure that I don't lose my access. First thing I'm going to do, you can see that an account has been set up called Bank. That is not an actual bank account that we've set up for you. It's just a label to show how much money we have in the bank. So if I go over to transactions, I can click add transaction, and I'm going to select the start of the month. Vendor is not a real vendor here, but I'm going to say starting balance because this is the first month I'm budgeting, and purpose. Most of these are budget items, but there's also this one always at the top called deposit. That's just to put money right in the bank. So the amount here, let's say I started with $125. I'm not going to add cents because having cents just makes the rest of the math tricky, but let's assume there were some cents on there for the start. Going to hit save and add another. And then I'm also going to put in paychecks. So let's say I got paid on the 6th. And work as a deposit into the bank account. Let's say it was $2,000. I'm going to save and add another again. You can see when you add another, it keeps the same date that was here before. That's on purpose so that if you're adding in all your transactions at once and a day had a lot of transactions, it becomes a lot easier for you. You don't have to pick the date field every single time. But let's say we got paid on the 20th. And work. And there's another thing you can see here. I've typed in work. I've typed in work before, so it automatically picked deposit for us. Anytime you pick something in, like say a grocery store, and you've done it before, your item is automatically going to be chosen up here. Still from the bank. This one was another 2,000. We're going to hit save. We don't have to save another. And you can see in here, starting balance, 2 paychecks. That just gives us some money there to work with. And we can see ready to assign, we have $4,125. Now, the first thing you might wonder, you're like, what if these categories don't work for me? What if these aren't my budget items? Do I need to redo everything? You don't. If, say, for example, you do mortgage instead of rent, you can change rent and you can put mortgage in. Now, we can say that, what if I pay $1,000 biweekly on my mortgage? So I go ahead and I put in $2,000. You can see here that I'm told, hey, you put $2,000 more than you need for the month. That's because you haven't told Penguin Plan how much your mortgage is. Now, I'm not talking in terms of how much you actually owe on your home or your rent. Instead, I'm talking about just what your payment is for that particular month. And because it doesn't know, it can't actually help you out in that way. It can say, hey, you've paid too much, reduce overfunding, and you click that and the money goes back into your ready to assign. And the assignment goes back down to 0. But let's say 2,000, and then we're going to create our target. We're going to pick bill because I did say the mortgage was a bill, but it's not monthly. It's biweekly, $1,000 biweekly. You can see on here that we do have monthly, weekly, and biweekly bill types. If you want, say, annual, I have heard that before, then let me know in the comments or send us an email at support@penguinplan.com and say that annual would really help you out. And then we'll go ahead and build that. There's absolutely no problem whatsoever extending our features. We're totally happy to do it. But I'm going to pick biweekly. And I said it was $1,000 biweekly. And I go ahead and hit create. Now you can see $1,000 needed every other week by Monday. $2,000 here. We have $2,000 available. But you can also see an error down here. It says you've assigned, it's more of a warning than an error, you've assigned $500 less than needed. Now, you're saying, Landry, you said it was $1,000 biweekly. There's 2 payments in the month. Why is it $500 less? And that's because one of the ways that we have approached this is that if inside a particular month you would have 3 mortgage payments, we would much rather you have a consistent amount set aside for your mortgage every week than having you hit all at once with 3 mortgage payments. I think it's a lot easier personally to manage my life with little consistency. Consistency is key. So I'm going to hit auto assign down here just to make it a little easier. Boom, you can see we have assigned $2,500 and the ready to assign has been reduced. Now let's say we actually did pay our mortgage. Then we'll go in here, say we paid it on the 13th. And instead of a particular bank or a lender, I'm just going to write mortgage lender on there and say mortgage and say we did $1,000, right? So now you can see the transactions in the list. And if we go back to our budget, you can see that the available amount, that's the amount inside your envelope. If you imagine this is a mortgage envelope, has been reduced by $1,000, but there's still $1,500 left for us. Taking a look at another type of target that's important, we're going to look at utilities. So I don't know about you, but my utilities aren't consistent at all. They're based on usage. And so I don't know what my utility bills are going to be at the start of the month. So one way to tackle this is I can hit create target. This time I'm going to choose available. And available just means how much money you want to be available for that envelope at the beginning of the month. So we're going to hit available and I'm going to say my utility is not $2,000. That would be extreme, but $200. Now you can see you need $200. I'm going to hit auto assign because it's easy. And then I'm going to go into transactions. Now let's say, for example, on the 11th, we paid for water and we paid for utilities and we paid $250. Now I know I just put $200 in there, but like I said, utilities are a little weird. So what if I paid more than I was expecting to pay? Maybe I have a leak in a sink or something, and that's caused my water bill to be quite high. We haven't even considered other utilities. So I go ahead and hit save, go over to budget, and you can see here that while none is available, utilities did increase from 200 to 250, and the amount of money that you have to assign has gone down appropriately. And now I might also want to say, it says, hey, you've assigned what you need for the month. You've done great. You also need $200, but I already know that my water bill was too high. So I can hit auto adjust target, and all of a sudden that has changed to $250 needed at the start of the month. Because when you start a budget, you don't always know how much money that you're going to need in those envelopes, especially in the first month. The later months become a little more consistent, but it can be really hard to get right in the first month. I know it was for me. Also, another thing to show off here is that in the top, you can see your target amounts total $2,700 this month. That is very handy for me personally because I want to know what my bill totals are going to be compared to how much money I make. I know making $4,000 a month. Now I can see, you know what? I only have accounted for $2,700. That means I'm going to have $1,300 additional over the course of the month. Now I only have a few more categories. Let's actually add another category. So we can add things like your cell phone bill, your internet, or one that I enjoy, entertainment. Now, I am a Netflix fan. I'm also a Disney Plus fan. I have quite a few subscriptions, to be honest, more than necessary. But I'm going to create a category for entertainment. You can do this for hobbies too. I personally think this type of stuff is the spice of life for me. So I create a category called entertainment. Now, you might say you created it, but I don't actually see a category for entertainment. That's because categories are these things at the top here: bills, frequent, infrequent. And you see as well that as we collapse them, you get a total. So you have an idea of what's going on in that particular category. So I made entertainment. It's not actually there because we don't show categories when nothing is in them. But I told you I'm going to take entertainment. I'm going to add Netflix here. That's a general thing I have. And because I'm Canadian, my bill is 20 Canadian dollars a month. So I'm going to hit the button and all of a sudden we have that. I can create a target for it. I don't have to, but I will. I'm going to say it's a monthly bill. Let's say it's paid on the 17th. I don't think it is, but maybe, and $20. And that's created and set. And it's like, okay, you're all good to go. One thing to point out here is that you might have noticed when I was collapsing, this button's here, and that is a button to delete a category if a category doesn't make sense to you. So what if I say, you know what, Netflix is actually more of a bill than entertainment? I could just change the category here and select bill, but I know that my entertainment category is going to be empty. Maybe I've decided I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to click that button and we can see that Netflix has moved to unassigned. You can't delete unassigned. That's where all items that were in deleted categories go. But I say Netflix, fine. I don't want you in unassigned. It's not super useful for me. I am going to move you into bills, like I said, and up it goes. We'll talk about a different type. Over here, I have infrequent, and I have auto maintenance under infrequent because I don't know how often, how many times a month I'm going to need to change my oil, or I'll have a flat tire, or someone will steal my catalytic converter, or something is going to go wrong, right? So in this case, I am going to create a target, but I want to accumulate and put a little bit of money aside every single month. So I'm actually going to put growth. And that's one that just grows your balance in that envelope by a particular month or particular amount every single month. So I can say, you know what, I'm going to set $50 aside every month forever, or until I choose to delete it, for auto maintenance, and hit create. And if I choose to delete it, I can just hit delete. You can see $50 added every month forever. And if you delete it, it goes away. You can also edit it and change the type or change the amount. It's up to you. It's totally free form to work for you. So I said $50. I'm going to hit auto assign. And then next month and the month after, everything is going to just continue to work and ask for that money here. Last thing that I'm going to show is the last category type. So one of the things you can see here that is not there by default are goals. I'm going to create goals. For you, a goal might be an emergency fund. A goal might be a wedding. Weddings can be quite expensive. But for me, I'm going to say that a goal is vacation. I want a nice vacation, somewhere tropical where I can have an adventure and go to the beach. So I'm going to hit create. I'm going to show you the goal type here. Let's say create target. I want a goal, and I am going to go next year. And let's say I want to go in December when it's cold. It's really colder in February, but I'm going to say December here. And I want to save $5,000. So I'll go ahead and create. It says, you know what? You need $5,000 for your goal, December 14th, 2024. And it automatically calculates exactly how much money I need every month in order to move forward with that. So I can hit auto assign. It says, great, you've added $333.34. You are good to go to hit your goals. So the last thing I'll show is what happens when you switch months. So you can see here, we're on October. We switch over to November. And I'm already on vacation, so you can see I've assigned less than needed. But as you can see, we have to assign $3,000 more to cover our needs for the month because it's already kind of figured out exactly what we need there. And we can see that we have used the available amounts that we require. Is because they're not there anymore. Otherwise, it would consider those and take that into place. So you can see we do have 50 here, but because it's a growth category, it needs 50 more. Because it's a goal category, it wants another 300. If we jump forward one more month, you can see here that because we missed the last month, it actually needs that amount again. So that's how to create your first budget with Penguin Plan. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments or feel free to send a message to support@penguinplan.com. We'll get back to you right away. And also make sure that our support information is updated to help support you the best. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and we'll talk to you later.